I've been playing WoW Mythic Plus now for like 8 years or so since Legion released. I've made a streaming career out of it. I've been obsessed with it. I've ruined relationships because of it. No, I think that last one's. I don't. I'm just joking about that last one. Now we have Fellowship. Fellowship is a Mythic Plus simulator. It is Mythic Plus the game, and they've just had their open beta weekend just before their release set to be in like mid-October or so. And I finally got to get my hands on it. I put about 20 hours into it. I played all the different roles, played a few different characters, and this is my review video of this experience coming from a guy who is like obsessed with Mythic Plus and been putting a bunch of effort into that. This should be the game for me, right? This should, in theory, be the perfect game for me. So in this review, I want to find out if it really is and if it might be for you guys. So that's my plan. This is unsponsored. I have not been asked to make this video or anything like that. I'm just doing it because I'm interested in the game and checking it out. And like I say, in theory, this should be the perfect game for me. I've never had a game release like this before where it's like, hey, this is the thing I've been doing the last 8 years of my life, and now they've made it a new thing. So it's a very unique game concept, I guess. It's very similar to maybe an ARPG though, but it's just in more of an MMO format, right? There are some similarities here between obviously World of Warcraft, but also like an ARPG like PoE. A lot of the action bar and stuff, a lot of the systems are more like modern and are borrowing from different gameplay styles, different game designs. So yeah, like I say, I just want to get into this review. I want to talk about. I'll start by just saying what the game is, and then I'll get into the gameplay loop, the classes, the systems, the design, and the potential scope for success or failure based on what I personally think might contribute to those things. So, what is Fellowship? As I mentioned, it is the Mythic Plus simulator. It is Mythic Plus the game. There's no questing, there's no leveling, there's not even any character customization, really. It's very much get into the game, run some dungeons, go. You can see the UI of this town that I'm in now, right? Because you have this like central hub, there's target dummies, there's vendors, there's a leaderboard, there's just like a chill zone as you're waiting to load into games. This is the BattleNet screen. This is the Riot or League of Legends client. You can see there's literally just buttons like play at the top left, right? This is just the loading screen for you to hang out in until you're ready to jump into the content. The way the content is created is that you are doing these quick 10-minute dungeons with just a singular boss. You all get loot at the end. Everybody that plays in the group gets loot, guaranteed. And the goal being you jump in, do a dungeon, get some loot, get stronger, do a higher level dungeon, carry on, and just get into the level that you're comfortable with, I guess. Some people are going to want to push to the extreme. Some people are maybe going to stop a little bit short of that. Some people are just going to play with friends. But if you don't have any friends, that's okay because it has a solo queue system. It's built around the fact that you're going to be solo queuing. If you have a pre-made, that's a boon, but it's not required. So this is very interesting because there's a massive community in the WoW scene who are vehemently against the idea of a solo queue, how it would ruin the game and it would be terrible, yada, yada, yada. Let's find out how it works in Fellowship, where the game is designed around you doing solo queue. So the way the solo queue works is it matches you with people. The queues I found weren't long at all, but it matches you with people, and then you vote on a dungeon that you want to do. So you'll get a selection of 3 different dungeons and then 3 different dungeon levels. You decide, you vote democratically on which dungeon you want to do. Whichever gets the most votes, you run it. Cool thing is, even if you get a dungeon that you're not too interested in, well, it's only 10 minutes of your life. If you fail the dungeon, that's okay, because you've only wasted 10 minutes. There's no key that you're going to lose and that you're going to sacrifice, and you're like, oh, this guy DC'd and my key, and he's ruined it, and now I've got a key that I don't want. You just jump in and then you vote on the dungeon that you want to do. As you get more score, more dungeon rating, then you will be able to jump into higher level dungeons and go on from there. As you go through higher level content, there are more mechanics, things become more dangerous, more spells and things that you're gonna have to deal with, more mechanics that you're gonna have to deal with, and at a higher complexity. So the game sort of like slowly breaks you into more complicated components and mechanics. So that's what the game is, right? So now let's talk about some of the gameplay. Well, that's a lot of what the game is. That's a lot of the gameplay loop. Now I actually want to start getting into the review component of this. So as you've just seen on screen right here, right? In fact, I'll even go back for you. But as you've just seen on screen right here, I'm going to show you how quickly it is to change character. So I'm sitting in town here. I press escape. Well, I have to cancel my queue. I click swap hero. It takes me to the loading screen here, where I then have a choice of the different heroes. When you initially load into the game, this is what you're met with. You pick your role, you pick your hero, you load in, you click play, and you're away. And it just switches you over and you're ready to go. This game is designed around just getting you into content as quickly as possible. I love the idea of a solo queue because I find that when you don't have a solo queue and people are able to freely choose, they become incredibly picky, right? When the power is in your hands of choice, you suddenly become super picky about nothing in particular. The criteria that one leader might have over the criteria that another leader might have might be completely different. Some guy might invite people based on their names. Some people might invite people based on some arbitrary thing that they've made up in their head that they think is important. And so what I like about this game is that there is a solo queue option. You can just load in. What's nice about that is the queues are going to say, let's say, like 5 minutes on average or whatever. You can get up and you can leave. You can go and grab a drink. You can go and take a tinkle. What I find when I play Mythic Plus is I'm queuing up to keys and I'm afraid to leave my PC because I've queued up to 5 dungeons and I might get invited and I might need a little tinkle, which is more of an advertisement, I think, for wireless headphones. But just make sure you don't have the mic connected if you're still on Discord. But I like the idea of sort of having that, like, more relaxed. Like, I know I'm guaranteed to get into some content. And that is really good because what I find when I play WoW Mythic Plus is that I'm not guaranteed. I can spend 30 minutes and I might be no closer to getting into a dungeon than I was at minute 1. This, at least you're guaranteed going to be getting into content. You can see here, this is like the sort of the vote window of which dungeon you want to do. So this is really cool. Actually, I really like this idea. You can pick and choose based on like sort of where you're at with your like comfort zone, or maybe there's a certain dungeon that you're trying to farm and whatnot. So I think that's pretty cool. Quick dungeons. This can be good and it can be bad. Quick dungeons can be really nice because you are just in and out and you're not wasting a whole lot of time. So if you do get match made with a group that you think these guys are completely hopeless, this is terrible, well, first of all, you can just like vote to leave it. You can just cancel it, but it's only 10 minutes of your life. So you're not really sacrificing too much, and then you can leave the group and you can get a new one. It's low stakes. This is the big thing, right? It's low stakes. If you've got a 30-minute dungeon, or God forbid, a 35-minute dungeon timer, you have to be so locked in mentally. Like, you can't have a distraction. You can't have a knock on the door. You can't afford to let your, like, mind slip. If you're in the highest level dungeons. If you're doing, like, a weekly plus 10, then okay, you kind of a bit more relaxed. But with pushing content, if you really want people locked in, the longer you make them lock in, the more likely they are to make mistakes. And ultimately, that's what times dungeons, is having the fewest opportunities to make a mistake. If you don't make mistakes, you're going to succeed. 10-minute dungeons, it's pretty easy to just lock in for 10. You've only got one boss. It's pretty cute. It's nice. Now, I think there are some... I would also like the option of some larger dungeons, because I do think that one boss dungeons, while it's nice to just jump in and out and just get that sort of like that Moorish gameplay, that ARPG mind of like, it's midnight, but okay, fine, one more. It's quick, one more. But if you know you've got a 40-minute dungeon ahead of you, well, you're not going to queue back in. Nah, I can't do 40 minutes. But like another 10 minutes, I can probably do. So it's very just like, it's good at just getting you into the content, but also that's going to be a little bit restrictive in terms of the complexity, because again, you've only got one boss. There's only so much you can do design-wise with a one-boss dungeon. There's only so much uniqueness you can do in sort of like routing and stuff like that. So it can also be a bit limited. What I would like to see, and I believe they're already in the game, but I didn't get to test one yet. I think there's like larger dungeons, larger scale ones take a bit longer, have a few more bosses in. I would love to see that because, again, it's going to add in the complexity. Now, in terms of like getting onto the routing itself, as I was mentioning, like from my testing of the dungeons, it's been very linear. There's definitely been choice, and you can go left, you can go right here, you can go across this bridge, you can go up this hill here. So there has definitely been some choice. Like, don't get me wrong, but I found that it's very much kind of run from A to B, kill the boss. So again, more sprawling dungeons or different routes, different dungeon designs would be really cool. There's definitely some things that they could do with different dungeon designs, and I'm sure that they will. But yeah, definitely some more dungeon complexities and stuff like that would be cool. Now, in terms of the actual dungeon content itself, I found that a lot of the... So when I was DPSing, I found that it was quite simple. I wasn't really doing much. I have an interrupt, but that's it. I don't really have much in the form of utility. I don't have much in the form of defensives. So a lot of the time I was just doing target dummy stuff. And it just came down to, is the tank going to die? Is the healer going to be able to heal them? And that was kind of it. So I would like to see more in terms of dungeon mechanics. Now, part of that might just be like there are a few levels or tiers of key difficulty that I didn't get to because it's the open beta. So that might just be that that's still yet to come, and I just personally hadn't experienced it yet. So fair enough. I'm okay if that's... Like, I know that as you go up the difficulty, things do get harder in terms of, like, dodging this, dodging that, like, different mechanics and whatnot. But also, just in terms of the class design, I think it is really important. Like, one of the really great things about Mythic Plus, for me, is cycling my defensives, getting to a key level, getting to a point where you have to be very careful with your defensive planning and cycling different CCs and disruptions to the mob pool with your group. Like, that really layers in the complexity. Ultimately, what I'm telling you guys here is that I like opt-in complexity. I like when you can choose for things to be more complex and you can embrace that and move toward that direction. So for me, if you have more layers, you have more complexity. If you have more things to do, more things to think about, you have more complexity. I love that. I really love that because it allows you small opportunities to be better than you were before. And I like having the spinning plates. I like having a few things to track. So that's something that I guess I would weigh in on. So yeah, the dungeons were fun. Like this Audios guy, which is sort of a fire mage affliction, like you're dotting a bunch of things up. This guy was actually really fun to play, and I didn't even have any gear on him yet, and I didn't even have any talents on him yet. So I am still missing so much power from this guy. You can see there's another Audios in our key who's absolutely dwarfing me on the DPS, and that's fine because it was the gameplay that I was enjoying, and the gear will come. So this was really fun. I actually really enjoyed like playing through with this class and just getting used to like the gameplay loop of playing with this class. That was really, really good. I guess that comfortably brings me on to the UI and the design and the systems and stuff like that. So some things that I was really impressed with. This is a game made in 2025. So it has all of the comforts that you would expect from a game made in 2025. It's very... I mean, it's cutesy with the art style and everything. Like, it's just modern. It just looks modern, feels modern, feels responsive. It's got in like the with your action buttons, you can literally just right click on an action button, and then you can just have a bunch of... It's like PoE, right? You can set the keybinds just there and then, so you can change... I was changing keybinds mid-key because you could just do it super easy, super quickly. You can change abilities and where they are in your bar. Instead of having like a spell book and you're dragging things, you literally just like right click on the action bar and then you can just slot things in as you choose. It has built-in mouse over like capabilities. So say I've got this dispel on me or this spell on me that can be dispelled. If you're the healer, you can just mouse over dispel. And that was phenomenal. Just having that inbuilt into the game, it just worked really fluidly. It just made sense. Yeah, it was great. So really enjoyed that. It has a built-in DPS meter, so you can track things instantly. You don't have to go to external websites and download the things. So if you're a new player picking up this game, the experience that you're going to have is just everything is there for you to then work with. So that's really fantastic. Even just like here, deafening screech, and it just comes up with a caution sign. A lot of the stuff just default is they've clearly done their research on World of Warcraft and surely some other games out there as well. Like I say, I get a lot of ARPG elements from this game, but they've clearly done their research. They've clearly looked at things like, how are most people putting their UI in WoW? Okay, why don't we start with that as the default? What kinds of things do people want to track? They want to track boss cast times and spells. They want to track what the incoming mechanics, like what the boss is going to do next. They want to track they want details. They want healing done, damage done, etc. So all of this stuff is just very it's just built in. It's just very comfortable. It's cozy. It's what you're used to. I mean, for me, I picked up healer and just instantly got into healing. Like you can already see the healing abilities that are on us. You can see buffs and things that are just there, nice and neat. You can see like debuffs on people as well on the nameplates. It's just well designed from the get-go. So a lot of the systems and everything, I'm actually really pleased with. In fact, I'd say that's probably one of the fundamentally just the best components of this game is just the systems, the UI, the comfortability, the adjustability. Like you can just move things however you want. You've got the HUD changes and stuff. So in terms of UI, I think it's been great. I'm saving the classes until the end. Okay, I'm saving the classes until the end. So that's to come. But in terms of like gearing and everything, I'm actually also thoroughly impressed. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, when you complete a dungeon, you can see on the right hand side of the screen, everybody gets loot. So you can see some of us get loot, equipable items. Some people also get crafting materials or currencies that you can then use at the vendor to buy gear and things. Now, the currencies and the reagents are account bound. So they've really worked hard on making things account bound so that you can just switch hero, switch character, switch role like that. And when you do, okay, you're not having to regrind 100% of the effort that you put on your main. You're not going to have to invest that into your alt character. So it's super, super cool in that sense. It was really nice as well when we joined like a 4-man and it was like, oh, wait, we have too many DPS. One of us has to heal, one of us has to tank. People can just switch like that and it's just no problem. We don't have any leveling to do. Oh, I've never tanked before. That's okay. I'll figure it out as we go. Let's just queue in. You can see here, I'm going to jump onto healer and I'm going to heal a dungeon because we needed a healer. It's just that simple. All my keybinds are saved and everything. Now, I would say, so this is something that the game does really need, is a saving your keybinds per hero or per role at the very least. Because as a healer, I want very different keybinds than what I want as a DPS or potentially even as a tank. So that's something that they need to, I think they should implement. I even provided that feedback in the game during the beta, so we'll see. So that's something that I would really like. Maybe I'll put that at the end as well as like some additional feedback and stuff. But that's something that would be really good. So so I really like the account bound component of a lot of the things, the currencies and all that kind of stuff. Now something that there's various ways in which you can improve your character. There's a little bit of gamba. They put some gamba into the game so you can like take an item that you don't want and you can re-roll it into a potential item that you do want. And so you can fish for gear, you can fish for improvements, you can kind of like gamba a little bit, which I don't mind a bit of that because there's also ways that you can tangibly, specifically seek out certain upgrades that you want, right? So there is ways for you to actually get the gear that you do want, specifically in target specific gear. But then you can also have a bit of fun, have a bit of gamba. So they have invested a bit. Like, that's more of the ARPG component that I'm getting from this game, is the fact that it's like they put some of those crafting systems in that are a little bit gamba. And so I'm with it. I think that's fun. I think that's cool. As long as I got ways to target gear that I want, then I'm happy with that. They also have a thing called relics. So when it comes to a lot of the combat and stuff, a lot of the utility, I did mention like having utility, having defensives and stuff available. So a lot of that stuff is actually just baked into the relics, which are basically trinkets. So relics, you can have 2 of them per player. They do things like battle res. They do things like shroud, movement speed increases, gateway, polymorph. These things, so like mob CCs, utility with like movement and stuff like that, and skipping mobs and routing, that is baked into the relics, which means that you can play any composition that you want. So in terms of a meta forming, it's not going to be reliant on, oh, well, this guy's going to bring this. So that's quite positive. Now, I could see an issue in solo queue where you all load in with exactly the same loadout. You all load in with Shroud and nobody has, like, battle res or something. I don't know. Maybe that's going to be something that happens. I think the likelihood of that occurring is quite low, especially since everybody can wear 2 relics. The likelihood of you guys as a group not having much variation is very low. And again, it's low stakes. Okay, if you have a group like that, well, it's going to happen once in a blue moon, and it's fine because you only wasted 10 minutes of your life if you even fail. You might get through with it, no problem. So, okay, that's cool. I really do like that because it does just allow the meta to be opened up. Now, speaking of the meta, this game is solely Mythic Plus. So they don't have to cater to PvP or raiding or single target or and cleave or an AoE. Like, they can just tune things around the dungeons. So that hopefully will mean that things are a lot closer. And I know that people are going to be meta-driven because during the beta, I'd been playing for about 2 hours, and I had a guy come into my chat and say, "Hey, what do you think the meta healer is looking like right now?" I'm on my fresh Sylvie. I don't even have all of my. I have like 2 talent points. I have 0 gear. I'm like, brother, why are you asking me about the healer meta right now? First of all, there's 2 healers, okay? So, I mean, it's this guy or it's that guy. And secondly, like, what are you even saying to me right now? What are you saying? So I know people are going to be meta-driven. I know people are going to be cringe. Oh, here's a gateway. Here, look, this is the relic. I'm telling you, look on screen. Look. Whoop! Isn't that sick? Cool. So yeah, the meta thing, like, hopefully there's going to be more of an open meta because a lot of the utility stuff is locked behind the relics rather than the actual class that you're playing. So that's pretty cool. As I mentioned, there's not really too much in the scope of... So, okay, this is where most of my criticisms are going to come, and this is where most of my issues with the game are going to come. So far in this video, I would say I've overall been pretty positive because I've genuinely been very positive about all of these components of the game. Now, in time, I could see myself going, oh, you know what, 10-minute dungeons? I really don't like this, actually. I could see myself in future going, oh, you know what, solo queue? I really don't like this, actually. Like, there are definitely some things that I've been praising right now that in future, with hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, whatever, I could find, you know what, I like this initially, but I don't like it now. Maybe some of the RNG components with the gearing or something. Yeah, I don't really like that, actually. I can see myself changing my mind about that. But initially, this has all been very refreshing, all been very positive. I've been very happy with all of this stuff. Something that I'm worried about for the release of the game and the game's actual success is the classes. Fundamentally, what is going to make this game succeed more than anything else is the class design. That is the number one thing that's going to matter. Right now, you only have 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 3 or 4 DPS. It's super bare bones. And the game releases in like a few weeks. There's not exactly much, like, they're not releasing more classes anytime soon, right? So I would assume maybe they surprise us. But if it releases in this state, it could struggle because there's not much variety. I found myself logging into the game excited to play, looking at all the champions and going, I don't actually connect. I don't actually gravitate to a single one of these. I ended up picking Sylvie because I thought, you know what? Let me try healer, I guess. And it's like druidic, which is kind of cool, but like that was it. I like forced myself to make some kind of connection there and go, all right, fine, I'll play this. The classes are very much warrior, priest, rogue, mage. That's like the most bare bones class structure you can have. And even within that, it's not been very, like, there's definitely been some components with some of the design of the classes that I've gone, oh, that's pretty neat. But a lot of it I've gone, that's from WoW. Yeah, that's from WoW. Oh, yeah, that's the Rogue. Yeah, that's Poison Bomb from Rogue. Oh, yeah, that's Cloudburst Totem from Shaman. Oh, that's Efflorescence from Resto Druid. Like, or that's is it Malevolence from Destro? Look, like, I'm just looking at a lot of things like, oh, that's that. Oh, that's that. Oh, that's that from WoW. So a lot of the design, like, you could say, hey, Si, what are you talking about? There's more than just warrior tank. There's brewmaster. Oh yeah, it's brewmaster. Like, it's very much a lot of the classes are either very similar to WoW design to the point where it's making me just think, oh, this is WoW design. In which case, I may as well go play that class in WoW where it's more fleshed out. Or, like, I don't know, like that's maybe a feeling, or just like get on with it. But in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, this is very WoW like. There's not been any class so far that I've played and I've gone. So far, I'll say I've played Sylvie as a healer. I've played the monk, Mako, something like that. I've played Mira, is that a name? The rogue, and I played Audios the mage. So I've played about 70% of all the available classes so far. The most fun for me was Sylvie. Like, healing was the most fun thing in this game at this point. And I don't generally heal in World of Warcraft. I used to 10 years ago, but generally these days, like, I'm a DPS or I'll do some tanking, but I don't really heal. This actually made me, so a positive I will say, is this actually made me want to go and do some healing. And it's made me want to go, oh, you know what, I want to go play my Resto Druid in WoW. But that's very much what it's been. It's like, I'm going to go play WoW. And that's not what you want. You want people to go, oh, dude, this class feels so good to play. I want to stay on this because I don't get this anywhere else. You know why I'm so addicted to World of Warcraft? Because I can't get Feral Druid anywhere else on the market. It does not exist. World of Warcraft has the market share on Feral Druid. So if I want to get home from a long day at the Long Day Factory, I have one place to go. I have Feral Druid in World of Warcraft, and that's it. If Fellowship can do some of that, where you go, you know what, I just want to go and play that class really bad, then this could do some wonders there. So class design is my biggest issue right now in terms of just the variety available. The game needs at least 3 times the amount. Well, at least double the amount of heroes, especially in each role, right? Like, you need at least like 4 or 5 tanks to choose from, 4 or 5 healers to choose from, each with their own unique style, and then you need like 10 DPS, right? If you have that number, you're probably in a decent state on launch. Right now, it's pretty bare bones, so I'm a bit worried about that. I will say, though, that maybe it won't matter so much in terms of the design of a lot of the classes, because you're going to have many people playing this game that have never played World of Warcraft or have never played certain classes in World of Warcraft, and they're going to come into this, and they're not going to realize that they're playing things that have been borrowed from WoW, and they're instead just going to go, oh, this character's really fun, I like this design. Because I've never played World of Warcraft before, I've never played Final Fantasy, or I've never played whatever. Like, they've never played the other stuff that this game is, like, taken some inspiration from. So they're just going to have a good time. And the fact that this game has no leveling requirement, no, like, questing and all that kind of stuff, people can just log in and play. You're going to get a lot of people who have never played Mythic Plus before. This is going to be their first experience of this kind of system, and they're hopefully going to really, really, really enjoy it. I want to touch on a couple more things. So this is like my review of a few things that I think are really, really good. So right now you can see in this UI, I've just paused this video here. You can see in this UI, you can see 3 profile icons of people in our party, and then you can see a health frame. This is a sick idea. So this is a focus macro of your interrupt, and it's inbuilt into the game. You can just set it on a keybind, just instantly. Like, you set it on a keybind and you're fine. When you target that focus mob, it puts your icon there, telling everyone else in the group that this is the mob that you're going to look to interrupt. And then when you use your interrupt, it telegraphs to everybody that yours is on CD. And this is phenomenal. I love this. I've been blown away by that. Something that I think would be really cool as well, you couldn't have both, but something that would be really cool is if you were targeted by a mob casting on you, then the mob would show your profile picture so that you knew, like, oh, I'm getting cast on by that mob and that mob. Okay, I need to use a defensive or something like that. Or I need to interrupt one of those. Like, that kind of thing would be really, really cool. But yeah, there's some really cute stuff in the design of this game that I'm very impressed with and I'm looking forward to. Yeah, overall, I'm really impressed. I'm pleasantly surprised. This game was way more addictive than I thought it was going to be. There's some cool stuff in the systems. Like, they've got tier sets. They've got, like, just some nice design with a lot of this stuff. However, the game releases in a couple weeks, and you still have items that haven't fully been named or fleshed out. There's a lot of TBD on a lot of things. There's been a lot of issues with, like, bugs and game crashes, and I don't care about queues or whatever. Queues will get sorted, but, like, there's a lot of issues with just things not working, and the game releases in a couple weeks. So I'm a little bit worried about that. That's where my concerns lie. I'm concerned about the class design. These are where my issues lie, because the thing is with games these days, and this is probably fundamentally the most important point of this whole video, this whole review, the thing with video games these days is that first impressions are the thing that matters. Like, that is the number one thing, is if I don't have a good first positive experience, I'm not coming back. I'm talking to you, New World. You know? That's probably the only other game I've played in the last 10 years. If people don't have an immediate positive experience, they're not going to come back. It's very unlikely that they're going to come back. And so it matters that when this game releases, it releases in a good state where things aren't just getting bricked and there's, like, a bunch of bugs with just you trying to interact with the game and queue in. There was an issue with if you tried to change some gameplay settings, it would crash your game. That kind of stuff needs to be fixed, right? Then there's going to be the issue with the limited number of classes. I think that could create some issues. So to answer the initial question that I had at the beginning of this video, is this the perfect game for me? Is this, like, my future? It absolutely could be, but it just depends on how the game launches and what their plans are with adding on more classes and some more cool class design. That fundamentally for me is the biggest thing. What I would then like to see them add in future is some raids where it's just 8 players versus a boss. You load in, big. That would be sick. So that kind of thing. I could see myself playing a lot of Fellowship. Maybe, like, do a WoW season, do a Fellowship season, do a WoW season, do a Fellowship season. But right now, as far as things stand, the way I feel about Fellowship right now is I will log in on release. I will play it for a couple weeks. I will see how it goes. And then I will decide whether or not I'm, like, just shelving it there and going, okay, that was a fun 2 weeks, see you later. Or if there will be more of a, like, tangible, like, long-term relationship that could maybe develop, you know? So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. If there's anything that I missed in this review, I mean, there's so much to cover. There's a bunch of stuff I didn't even talk about. Is, like, the talent system and the reward structure. Like, there's so many things that I didn't even get to cover yet. But this review's going on quite long. I've been yapping, so I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm definitely down to make some follow-up videos on specific systems. I can talk in depth about like some of the class design, like the healer, for example, like Sylvie. I could probably do a class guide on Sylvie at this point, you know? So if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, let me know. If you want to hear more review stuff, then let me know. I want to hear from you what you found positive, what you found negative about the game so far, your experiences with the open beta, and what you're looking forward to most. I'd love to hear it. Apart from that, come check me out on Twitch. Come check me out on YouTube, Kick. I'll be streaming everywhere, streaming a lot of WoW. So, yeah, thanks very much, guys. Take care.